Hello everyone and welcome back. We've seen in the previous video how name mangling works in Swift applications. We discussed this technique, also known as name decoration, which allows the compiler to pass extra information to the linker that will include argument and return types and other semantic information. This also allows multiple functions having the same name to exist in different namespaces. In this video, let's see how to extract the original function name and parameters from the mangled version. We have a few methods to do this and we'll start with the manual option. Let's pick, for example, this very long function name over here, which is not even readable. Copy it and pass it to the Swift de-mangle binary. It should be present in the command line tools folder. /library/developer/command line tools. We will pass the mangled function name, but before, remove the leading underscore and $sign. To understand why we need to remove these signs, check the reference specifications link, which describes the mangling grammar rules. Not that important for us at the moment. Great! Look at that! We've started from this long unreadable name and we extracted a lot of stuff. This class, Swan, the name of the method is same color and the name and type of the parameters. We have one parameter of type string named Swan color and we've also extracted the return type Boolean. Very nice. Let's pick another name and see if the technique works. Let me find another one which looks interesting, for example, this one over here. Copy it from IDA, remove the leading signs and call Swift de-mangle. This is the swan init method and in this case we have two parameters, both are of type string. More interesting, we also get their original names, swan color and name. We have the return type, which is of type swan, since this method initializes an object. There's quite some information encoded just in the name. Unfortunately, IDA Pro is not very helpful in this case, but don't worry, we have a couple of alternatives. First and easiest is the Hopper disassembler, which is able to de-mangle names by default. The trial version is enough for this exercise. Open the binary with the default option selected and look at that! All the names have been correctly de-mangled. Nice! We got the parameter types and the return type as expected. Let's see if we can find the previous function we've defined in the code. Print swan color. Change owner is same color. We've seen them before. Very nice. Hopper was able to extract those by default. I think it will still be very interesting to find a way to do this in IDA Pro. As a reminder, similarly with Hopper, IDA has also a professional paid version. Not to worry, there are options. One of them is an IDA Swift de-mangle plugin. I got the open source version of the plugin and modified it slightly to fix some errors. Very important, the plugin leverages the Python interface to run the external Swift de-mangle binary. Look here at the way we can execute external binaries and pass items extracted from IDA as arguments. That's very useful. We're using subprocess, popenAPI calls, which would work on both Windows and Linux platforms. We've basically automated what we've done before manually, but now for all names. Let's see the body of the plugin. The code looks for all the functions and then builds an array of de-mangled names by calling the external command. Easy. A very useful feature of the Swift de-mangle binary is that it supports multiple names passed via standard input. That's what we're using here. I strongly suggest to take the code and play around with it. I'm sure you'll get new ideas. A considerable disadvantage is that we need the Pro version because the free version doesn't support Python scripts. You could of course convert a Python script to an IDC script, but this would take some time to write and test. So let's see the plugin in action in the Pro version of IDA. Notice that even in the Pro version, we still have the same mangle function names in the left side panel. Not what I was expecting, but we'll fix those names in a minute. To resolve them, we'll use the script we've seen before. Very simple to load. Just make sure Swift de-mangle is in your path. Then go to File, Script File. We have the option to select either IDC or Python. Go with .py. Select the script and the names should quickly become readable. In case you experience any errors, check the logs in the console. Let's check a few of functions. Let's, for example, check one which has parameters like change owner to verify they have been extracted correctly. Look here, the original name and then the cleaned up name. Let's browse though a few more. It's same color, for example. Here is the mangle name and then the name we obtained after running the plugin. The plugin code, as we've seen before, is straightforward. To wrap things up, in these two episodes, we've seen a few ways to de-mangle function names. One way to do it manually from the command line, using the default Swift binary. Another solution is to use an application that knows to do this by default, like Hopper Disassembler. And yet another way, which is in my opinion the most interesting, is to write an IDA plugin ourselves that is able to do this for us. If we can write code for this, we can probably write other useful automation for IDA Pro. Thank you very much for watching and make sure to practice all these techniques on your own. Of course, in your own virtual machine in a safe way. Thanks and see you in the next videos.